Okay, so as you know, I graduated university less than a year ago. And now that I can finally properly focus on my art and business again, I spent the last few days brainstorming goals and how to achieve them for the next upcoming months. And I thought I'd show you how I plan on achieving these goals and working on them, while also paying a lot of attention to my mental health especially. So let's get right into it, because considering my mental health starts here exactly. So in the beginning, I thought I'd do the classic thing and plan my entire year. However, then I realized that, do I even know what my life will be like in 12 months? Like, hell, I don't even know what my life will look like in 6 months. So instead, I went about it in a way that I collected all my goals that I would like to achieve in the next few months, or that could be possible goal for the upcoming months. And then I decided to focus on the next 3 months specifically. And only those 3 months will be planned in more detail, which means that I will kind of assign specific tasks to the months. I did it this way because I simply discovered over time that if I were to plan, or like to try to plan my entire year ahead, it just wouldn't work out. So basically I would end up spending a whole lot of time and effort and mental energy and just way too many resources on planning every goal that I at the time think I will be able to work on or will want to work on into finer details, and just end up scrapping most of it. So instead, like I said, I'm gonna focus on the next 3 months, because that's the time frame I can actually realistically say what I could expect in the time. There's probably still gonna be a whole lot of stuff that I just couldn't predict, but it's less likely than in December or something like that. So how did I actually go about, planning my goals for now? The first thing I did was that I spent multiple days, like a week maybe, on brainstorming basically just what's on my mind. So I would just, while doing my morning pages, so like journaling in the morning basically, or just journaling in general, on the bus, just randomly while drawing or whatever, I would write them down on a random sheet of paper. Like, I think it's actually the back of like some junk mail, with a random pencil I probably had for like 10 years or something, because I don't use it to draw. It's just like a really old pencil. And then, I would jot everything down. And I chose this paper and this pencil specifically because that way it would take the pressure off. Not that I would have a lot of pressure if I were to use a proper pencil or a pen or something like that, but just the vibes of using these things made it like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna write it down and see what happens later on. And I also didn't pay any attention of like how achievable it is, if it's actually something I want to do. Just, hey, that would be a possible idea, I'm just gonna jot it down for later. And what did I do later? After, like I said, roughly a week, I sat down at my Notion page and wrote down all the goals in a more organized way. Basically, some of the goals were similar or belonged to the same category, which will be easier to understand in a bit when I show you my actual goals. But basically, I grouped them together and then also broke them down into smaller tasks if I had the idea. Like, I didn't purposely do it yet, but a lot of times while I was writing, I was like, oh yeah, this is the goal, this is a task. Oh, and that's another task. So I organized them, but also expanded a little bit on it. And this is also where I kept the SMART acronym in the back of my head. I've been using that for a long while now, so it's not that I particularly went through every goal and checked, oh, does this work with the SMART method? But instead, it's just something I kind of do subconsciously now. But as a little reminder, the SMART method helps you set actually achievable goals by checking if each task is specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and time-bound. I also, like I said, didn't go through every task, but instead kept it in the back of my head. And also for the time-bound part, I feel like most people put a specific date there, and I personally go with an amount of time instead. For example, if I have a task that I want to finish in a month, instead of saying I want to do it by the end of January, instead I say I want to do it in 4 weeks. And then if I plan, say, half of the exercises, which would take roughly 2 weeks in January, I plan 2 weeks then, and the other 2 weeks in February. Or if I plan, let's say for 2 weeks in January, but then after a week I'm like, okay, this is still a goal I want to achieve and work on, but right now I need a break, or there's any other reason why I want to take a break from that specific exercise or goal, I decide, hey, I'm still gonna finish these exercises for this goal this month, but the other week of work I delegate to February or another later point in time. Because that way it's just more flexible and I don't feel like I let myself down or something if I don't achieve the goal by the end of January, even though I instead spend like the second half of January working on another goal. Basically, the point is just to be able to move things around if it makes sense for me at the time. And lastly, before I move over to my own goals, I want to mention that my personal notes are very, very messy. I did clean this one up pretty well. Also, there's my screen. This is why I keep pointing over there. For example, my usual notes are both in English and German in the same sentence most of the times even. And I take very random notes. So while I did clean it up, like I said, if there's anything you don't understand, please feel free to ask. I don't mind explaining anything, even if it sounds stupid. It's very likely that it's just a random note that my head understands, but nobody else. So yeah. Just a little heads up. I don't think it's gonna happen, but there's a real possibility I missed something and there's gonna be questions. Just feel free to ask. But for now, let's switch over to my computer screen. I swear it's not that much later, but in the meantime, the natural light has left me and I don't know when it's gonna return, so I'm very sorry that the light situation is incredibly different. But we are coming back to this thing. So as you see, I have my quarterly goals here. If you close this, it's just here we have, you know, the list of goals, everything I wrote down, and then January, February, March so far are empty. Then if we go into the goals, the general groups are my business ideas, my portfolio, my bachelor project visual novel. The working title is Neptune's Reign, and then we have general art skills, my online presence, and the only thing I'm not going to go over in this video is my health things, because it's not that personal. Like mostly it's just like, oh, make this doctor's appointment, try to bring this into your routine, like more weekly exercise, stuff like that, but it's just not really that relevant right now. And I also have 2 goals up here that I added a bit ago, where I'm not entirely sure on which group to put it, because like sketch 10 to 20 minutes daily is for my mental health, but also it's for my general art skills, it's for my portfolio, it's everything. And I think this is also going to be the first thing I actually put into January, because that's something I do want to do as soon as possible. Because I realized over the course of the Artist Way actually that I don't sketch for fun that much. And if I just loosely scribble some random things, I end up with very good ideas, or like, you know, practice just general things, or also keep up with my comfort zone basically. Like for example, I had a commission of bunny illustrations, and then in the end after that I was like, oh my god, what does a human even look like? And this way I keep up with the stuff I actually personally really enjoy, that I actually do want to build upon. So the other thing is to make a 2024 digital sketch zine. I guess I'm gonna put that into January as well, because it's, you know, I do want to have this being focused on last year. Mainly because I love sketchbooks, because you have like this thing you can flip through and see your own art and like your development and everything like that. On my iPad, I haven't really managed to build something like that for my digital sketches, so I want to make, you know, a sketch zine for myself, basically just one PDF where I align the pages and maybe polish them up a little bit, because it's a goal of mine to maybe even sell sketch zines, because I really love them. I love looking at other people's sketches, but I don't think I'd have much of a success selling that right now at this point. So the 24 version is just going to be personal for me, but also practice for future projects. So yeah, that's something I do want to do in January. And now it's already the, what do I want to start with? I do think it's very important for me to have a portfolio right now, because I do have my website, but the website itself is so old. I mean, I'm proud of myself for having, I think I've had the website even before I applied to university, because I used that to apply for fanzines and stuff. Basically, I just think I can do a better job. And if I want to apply to jobs, show my artworks, a portfolio is like very, very important. So I guess out of all these things, I want to start with a portfolio website. So yeah, basically I have portfolio as a main title, and then the portfolio website, like the website itself, is another topic. And then I also have visual development parts for Neptune's Reign, the visual novel project I mentioned before. Because for the game, I'll obviously need like character design, stuff like that. But for my visual development portfolio, I might need even more. Or other things at least. And also what I've written down here is that I want to do Domestika classes. 3 that I've already bought a while back. One of them I've already done 2 years ago for university. So I want to do that again and also do the other ones. But before that, I need to research what a good VizDev portfolio needs. And I have this one YouTuber. She's a professional that also does a lot of portfolio review videos, and I've watched multiple of hers, and I really like the way she explains what a good portfolio entails. So I'm probably gonna use her videos as references. But I also want to look at other people as well. And then I do want to make a to-do list for that. So I want to start this in January. This Graphic Design Leicht gemacht is a German book about, well, basics of graphic design, kind of like graphic design for dummies, something like that. And I had a look at it. I haven't managed to properly read it yet, but it seems like a good starting point to realize what a good website needs. And the book also entails things like market research, stuff like that. So the book is very extensive, I guess, more extensive than what I maybe need. So it's not that I need to read the book back to back. However, I also don't want to rush through it. So yeah, I think I'm going to put that into January. And okay, doing the website providers also. So, there we go. Okay, if I spend January preparing, as in like reading the book, like the parts that are relevant, and making a list of everything I need, bullet points that I have to remember while building the website, stuff like that, and looking for a website provider, I think in February I can sit down and build the website. It's a bit rough to judge because I'm not sure how much of the book exactly is going to be helpful for me. But I guess I would want to spend 2 weeks on this. 2 weeks in January, and then the building of the website, let's say 1 week. For the website provider, okay, wait, this one. I'm gonna spend 2 Pomodoros, which is 25 minutes plus 5-minute break. So basically this is gonna be an hour. And then on reading the book, ooh, this is hard. So I think I'm gonna keep that at the 2 weeks because I just can't judge exactly how long this is gonna take. So the digital sketch zine, I have plans to, for me, rewatch for her watch for the first time Windbreaker, which is a 12-episode season so far. The second one is coming up in a few months, and I'm very much looking forward to that. And I plan on doing that during that. Basically building the PDF is gonna, because it's mainly just having my editing program open and putting the pages in. So I think that's not gonna take too long. Let's say 2 promos for that. Polish pages, I'm gonna decide that later how long that's gonna take. So that might be something, I don't think it's gonna take too long, and I also don't think I can give myself too much time for that, especially since this is, like I said, just a trial run basically. So I don't think I'm gonna use much time for that, but I still don't want to put a time yet because I'm just too unsure of how long this might take. The first one is a routine thing, so I can keep that without a pomo, or rather it's like 10 to 20 minutes daily is the time already. I think ideas sounds too much like, oh, this is gonna be my business, more like notes for the business part of it. The LBM is the Leipziger Buchmesse, which is the book fair at the end of March, and the Comic Salon Erlangen is another book fair specifically or mainly targeted towards comics, where you can pitch your comic projects as well. And that's something I do want to do down the line. However, end of March, May, June, I think I want to keep it. I'm definitely going to keep it there. I don't want to put it in. I don't think I can manage to do that for this year because the website is just way more important right now. So if I have the website, after that I'll need imagery to put on there. I have my bachelor project, which I can use. I have some other things, but most of the stuff on my website right now is pretty old. I have an astrology vampire design that I've done ages ago just for fun, but I actually really like the idea, and people also seem to very like the design, so I do think I want to put this in my portfolio. However, to use it, I'll have to update the character sheet because it was for fun. It was a bit sketchy. I do want to do Discord emotes, 5 stream layouts. Also, by the way, I'm ignoring punctuation and grammar and everything right now. Don't mind me. And then I also want to do, an entire stream kit basically for the vampire, and I do want to do 5 more potential designs just to show my range. I do think that might be a good idea to do next. If I have the website, I can put that there. Update character sheet for the vampire for sure. I think the sheet I have technically works. I'll just have to repaint everything on there, so that shouldn't take too long. So let me just put 3 almost, because I do tend to think I take less time than I actually do, so I'm just gonna put 3 for now. However, what I want to do is something that I remember I have here in the general art skills things is metal rendering studies, because dude. So yeah, I want to do more studies. I just want to understand how to render jewelry and stuff like that, because the VTuber design has various metal details, and it's also a skill I want to have. I also want to do coloring studies of artists I like. This is actually something I want to do multiple times. Fun fact, my local bookshop had a sale going on foreign language books, and I bought a book that I had already read from the library at my university, and oh my god, it's beautiful. I love it. It has so much line decker artwork in it. It's a line decker book, and I think it has all of his published artwork, if I remember correctly. It's insane. So that would be an amazing opportunity to do these studies. I don't think I want to do... Well, do I want to do these studies for the vampire, like the VTuber design? Because VTubers are more anime stylized than my usual work. And for those, I think it makes sense as well, because, you know, the VTuber rigging and stuff like that, a painterly art style that I have usually doesn't work for that. So I'm gonna take line decker out of there for now and just say 2 different artists from my inspiration folder. My inspiration folder is a folder on my computer with art styles that I really like of various artists. Like, there are almost 100 in there, I think. So I'm gonna stay with 2, because otherwise I'm gonna end up having too many, because I can already tell you, if I sit down and be like, okay, 2 art styles that would fit what I want my VTuber rendering to look like, basically, I'll have at least 3 art styles that I would want to learn from. So I'm gonna keep it like this. I think I can do 2 promos for that, and here per artist I'll do also 2 promo. An hour, I think an hour is a good amount of time. And then number 2, take notes on what you like. As you see, I also put like notes in brackets for the various things, just so, like, I used to have it in a way that I would have basically a little bullet point under it and have it written down there, but that would just make everything way too long. I'm so looking forward to this book, by the way. I can't wait for it to arrive at my doorstep. Let's see. I think project-wise, that's already a lot for January and February. Well, I mean, I could... I think I can put a smaller thing into January actually, because if I just work on one project, even if it's a bigger project like my portfolio website, I'm gonna go crazy. So I'm gonna do the Insta rebranding after the website. Ooh, that might be a good one. These, once again, are two artists that released Domestika classes. The Izzy Burton one I have, the other one I think I want to buy. But I do think doing one of these, probably Izzy Burton, just because I already own that one, would be a very good idea. Also, because that way I'm gonna get back into drawing full backgrounds. So that would be... okay. Yeah, I think that's good. I'm gonna put these into general art skills because I don't like that they don't have a group. So there I have two groups. Here I have the website and the portfolio thing. Because building a website is very different from creating character designs and things like that. So even though it's the same overall goal, I do think this is enough diversity so that I don't get bored basically from doing the same thing over and over. 5 Discord emotes. Let's see, I did a commission for Discord emotes a while back. Not a while back, like 2 months ago max. That would mean I do 1 A4 page brainstorm sketches for 1 promo. Lines plus flats, shading. I think picking 5, doing the lines and the flats, those are not too complicated, but at the same time, I don't want to call it tedious, but it's kind of a tedious job as I'm like, oh, I just line them, but also it takes way more, every time, this takes more time than I think. So I'm gonna put down 4 promos, and the shading, that does take a while. So I might save 4 promos as well. Again, these are just the times that I plan for it. There's every possibility that I'm gonna finish them sooner than that, which actually I hope I will, but I also just do want to obliterate every possibility of me taking longer than planned. So also, let's face it, like 2 hours is not even too much, especially if it's like 5 designs. So I might even, also I might change these things later on, like if I just sit down and I realize, oh, I only finished the line art for one of them and it's already been 1 promo, so I have to put it up to 6 or whatever. But yeah, research on what does that include? That's 1 promo research, and then designing the layout. That's gonna take a while, and it's something I can't judge yet because I have not done something like that before, so I'm gonna leave it blank for now. I'm not gonna do the 5 VTuber designs in February because that's gonna be too much. So basically, while I pick things and put them down here, I delete them from up here, and that means it's always an overview of things I haven't done yet and I haven't planned yet. Yeah, I think that's enough for January and February, because I don't think right now that this is gonna be too boring to do. Like, I think this is enough variety. But if I end up being like, yeah, I can't think about VTuber designs anymore, I need to do something entirely different, I can maybe take these and put them back up there and instead pull something for the general art skills down here or something like that. But I think amount-wise this is enough. And after this, I think I want to do illustrations for my portfolio. I think the general art skills thing would be the nicest. I think this class on visual wordbuilding, sketchbooking, and fantasy illustration might be smart to do. If I remember correctly, they don't include doing a full illustration in the class, but I can just do that anyways. So I might put this in March. Wait, that means this is so I know what I need, and then I'm gonna make a list, and then I know right now that I need full background illustrations, and that's the class I'm gonna do for that. And then I also think this would be a good idea to do, because that would mean, you know, for my visual novel, I do have thing of everything I need for my portfolio, but these are things that are not already covered in the portfolio part. So that this one just means check what a good VizDev portfolio needs with looking at her YouTube videos. And then also I have these classes, 1 or 2 Domestika classes. So there we go, because that also means if I have a look at this and I know, you know, I finished my bachelor's project, which was a BizDev project for this, I know I have the character designs for the protagonist and the second main character and four NPC characters that I can use in here. So maybe if I research what I have to do and make a list. No, I think I want to do that here and then I'm going to do the classes. Update to-do list. I write it here right now because updating the to-do list at this point might be a bigger task than just crossing it out, because maybe while I did some things, I end up having different ideas. Maybe I plan for 3 specific characters and then while doing the class I want to change one character idea for another one. Like basically I just want to see if the to-do list I did first is still up to date or if I want to correct anything. This looks quite good, as in like things I do want to get done. On the one hand, it's my minimum to do, but at the same time, I think this is already a pretty good amount of things that I would want to do. So for the check-in, that what I need for my portfolio, I'm gonna do 2 promos. The world building, sketching, fantasy illustration class. I think I have to have a closer look at the class to judge that properly. Make at least 1 full illustration. Let's say 3 days. Because especially with full background illustrations, I feel like I need good amount of breaks. Basically, if I finish in the evening, have another look at the line art and everything in the morning. So I think 3 days is a good idea. Then research what I need. Ooh, how much time? Because that, especially this one, is one I could spend forever on. So how much time do I want to allow myself on this? See, if I watch the videos, I think they're like an hour, half an hour to an hour or something like that. Especially if I pause them to take notes and everything. So let's say I watch 3 videos. Maybe I'm gonna allow myself 3 days for this as well. This one should not take too long, so I'm gonna say 2 promos, even though I think I'm only need like 1, which means like half an hour roughly. Do 1 or 2 domestic classes per class 1 week. So yeah, that means, because see, now I have, on the one hand, I have this list of everything I would like to do and everything I think is important for me to do. But at the same time, I think the book fairs are good examples for that, because this is actually something that would be very smart for me to do. But at the same time, if I would want to finish my expose for the project that I already have in my mind, if I were to try to squash this into here, that would not work. Like, I would only end up with a subpar product that I could show at the book fairs, but that's... I don't want to call it a waste of time. The energy I would spend on that is smarter to spend on this. And this will already bring me further in my career, I guess, because right now, like I said, I do have a portfolio and I have the skills to do things, but I don't feel like I have enough to probably show my skills. So I think the Insta stuff is also something I'm gonna take care of after the portfolio. Because if I want to start posting on Insta right now, mentally I'll be stuck at like, oh, I have to have something to post on Instagram, and I do want to focus on portfolio pieces for now. So that's something that comes later. YouTube videos, however, that's something I want to do as soon as possible, like post every 2 weeks. Like right now I'm doing that every month, and that works well for me. However, I do want to bring it up a bit, because I don't want to film something in November that comes out in fucking March or something. So I might put that... Oh, am I gonna put that in January? Okay, full disclosure, I'm recording this video, I think it's the 29th of December right now, I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, I think so. And my plan is to upload this in the middle of January, so basically this is already me starting with that, because then I have this one for the middle of January, and I have like 3 or even 4 backup videos right now that I can start. Yeah, you know what, yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna regret this, but online so red. Okay, yeah. So that would be my goals list for now, I think. I am going to have another look at this, like, probably tomorrow to to rethink if the things I predicted right now are still something I will think is manageable tomorrow, you know? But I do think overall this is going to be a pretty good idea. On the one hand, looking at this is kind of intimidating, and the other hand, it's manageable. So yeah, I think this is pretty nice. So like I said, I'm gonna have a look at this tomorrow. Don't think I'm gonna change too much, like maybe some things here and there, but nothing too major. So I love to hear about your goals and how you plan on achieving them, or how you set them, or how you even decided on what kind of goals you want to achieve. So please let me know in the comments, and I can't wait to read them. But for now, I hope I'll see you in the next video, and bye bye!